everyone, I'm Christy Stratus, and today you have my hands because I'm really going to be talking about a very interesting thing that happened. I've been going down rabbit holes sometimes. You know how it is when you are doing some research. And so as you guys know, I write Victorian era historical fiction, but it's more heavily psychological suspense. But the thing is, I have an interest in 1930s through 1950s movies. So I found something interesting that led me down a very different rabbit hole, and I thought you guys might find it interesting. If you're a patron, you are seeing this a month before everyone else. And if you are not a patron, then make sure to join at the In the Know coffee level for a lot of research, videos, and interesting details, and positivity haikus and posts. And you'll get them a month in advance of everyone else. So I got, and this is only half of the letters that I got. I got these letters. They are 1944 to 1945. It's actually less than half of these letters, and I won them at an auction. There were something like $30 for more than twice this amount of letters, and another box of letters that took place during the Korean War. And these ones are between a husband and wife, and they're really interesting. So I bought them really because, like I said, I have an interest in the time period in general, starting to get more interested in researching it. So this is SWAK is Sealed with a Kiss, and I wanted to just show you, this is mostly the letters from the wife that were saved. Very rarely anything else. Sometimes it's other family, but it's not so much the husband. So this is onion skin paper. And so I just wanted to show you briefly, this is from August 26, 1944, which was a Saturday. It starts, "Hello, darling." And it tells a lot about the time period, about how they wrote, about what was important to them, the things they did on a daily basis, especially wives whose husbands were in the armed forces. So it's very interesting. It talks about his hopes and what he wants to do with his army career. It talks about what they miss about each other. It's got a lot of interesting ways that they wrote, including writing cause instead of because. So like if you were to write something that was in that time period, you would get a great idea how to write it based on these real letters between a husband and wife. So I found them interesting. I had read a couple while I was at the auction previewing and was fascinated by them. So I decided I was going to buy them. Well, in there, I found a very interesting envelope. It had, and it had not been sent, but it had this very interesting stuff. So this is something called Psychiana. First of all, I just want to say, of course, this is straight from the time period. It's in perfect condition, and this is talking to men in particular. It looks like it was for men in the armed forces. So that was their sort of target market. It says, "Please send me without cost or obligation the story of how Dr. Frank B. Robinson, entirely without human aid or advice, made his world-rocking discovery of the existence of the invisible power of Almighty God." So it's pretty interesting. It's asking for your name, street address, all that kind of stuff. It was never filled out or sent. There is the original envelope too. I have that inside. In there was this very interesting poster type of thing. Well, not really a poster. It's a letter to you, and it's in perfect condition. It tells a little bit about this thing called Psycheana. Now, I had never heard of this until buying these letters and ending up finding it in here. It was mailed to the guy who was in the armed forces. "I want you to find the power of Almighty God, and you can right here on earth." So this is that Dr. Frank B. Robinson who was mentioned in this business reply card. And it's got some very interesting things. It's saying there is no guesswork about this staggering new discovery of what the power of God is doing. We will submit to you evidence of the most convincing type that this amazing spiritual power is freely available to you. There is nothing it cannot do for you. And so it's asking you to fill out the enclosed card so that they can send you free evidence that may make you doubt your very own senses. They say, "But let us assure you that this evidence is true. There is absolutely nothing which the power of God cannot bring you. It can make your life happier, more abundantly prosperous, and can do it now. The amazing thing is that the human race has lived so long on the earth without discovering what this invisible power of God can do. This war has forced this discovery of the power of God." So they're obviously marketing to people in the war. I'd never heard of Psychiana. This is obviously they're trying to get you to buy into it. I assume that maybe if you sent this in, if you sent the card in, not only would you get this evidence, but they'd be asking you to pay for something. That's my assumption. This guy actually ended up losing a ton of money because he kept sending out these business reply cards and saying that it would be free to send back. And apparently the postage was part of what caused him to lose a ton of money. Then it led me to think, like, what is this Psychiana? And ended up finding on eBay this very, very interesting book here called Modern Religious Cults. It does talk specifically about Psychiana, among other things. This is from 1958. It's like a notebook kind of thing, and hopefully you can see that it's not glaring too badly. It does have some handwritten notes in here, which are also pretty interesting. I have not gotten the chance to really read these yet, but I did want to share with you guys, this is a little publication, some names, some handwriting in there, talking about what they considered some religious cults, modern religious cults back in 1958. If you were to write a book about this kind of stuff, this is the kind of primary resource you'd be looking for. What did these people consider a modern religious cult? Psychiana is in there. Right here it shows Recent American Psychiana. So I can turn to page 53. And like I said, I haven't done a whole lot of reading with it yet. And it's got like all this information. It's supposed to be... Some of what I read was that it's researched, or this is what they understand about it. It's got some amount of biographical information about Frank B. Robinson. They call him a modern paradox. It's pretty interesting. So, there's a lot of information in here. Also, it talks about Shakerism. It talks about Mormonism, spiritualism, astrology, Christian Science, Jehovah's Witnesses. Very interesting, the things that Pentecostalism, fundamentalism, faith healing, all kinds of different things. Some things I never heard of, some things we know today as like just typical religions that they had marked as cults. So again, if you're looking for something to sort of buff up and maybe give more dimension or something like that to the time period you're writing in, these kinds of things where you go down a rabbit hole and end up finding out something you had no clue about can be absolutely fascinating. So now I've got all this that I am thinking about doing something with. I'm not exactly sure what yet, it's talking about maybe short stories or something along that line. I really haven't decided yet, but there is so much fascinating information in here. Look, here are some of the articles that were included in the research for this. So I could go to this original, try and find these original resources and everything. So anyway, I just want to share that with you guys, some of how primary research can be done, and how rabbit holes can lead to pretty interesting things, all from a batch of letters between a World War II husband and wife. So anyway, let me know if there's anything you guys want to see about things I've researched. I have a lot more to share with you, Civil War era newspapers and all kinds of things like Civil War era newspapers and different books that are from the time period. I also have a collection I want to share with you of someone who collected Hollywood pictures and articles and things of the time that's actually written in a ledger that is enormous. So I want to share that with you. And I hope you found this interesting. I'll see you next time.